Gave his kid.
She must have.
I think
She was looking for creamer or something.
He's coffee. Yeah. He just starts in
I think that was what she said
trouble.
last.
We all have priorities.
What's going on? He goes,
Mr.
he was pushing up on
There.
pushing up on Q. First off, who's Q? And secondly, what does that mean? I'm just too old.
I was just like, where do you get spots? I'm sorry.
Oh,
I know. Oh, I need to get my agenda up. I think the charter bus comes with the driver, right?
There we go.
Yeah.
Your charter bus.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And if you are able to, please stand with me and say the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 4 is adoption of tonight's agenda. I will entertain a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt tonight.
A second, please. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Next item is our call to the public. Call to the public, the opportunity for people to speak to the board, and to do so, we do ask that you have a card filled out. Ms. Diane, we have no cards filled out this evening. Seeing none, we are going to move right on along. Item number 6 is our information and discussion items. Item number 6A is our superintendent's report. Ms. Daniels.
Good evening. So at your space, and it has already been posted on the website, are events that the board members may choose to attend if they would like to during this, between this board meeting and next. So you can take the paper with you. A few things that I wanted to point out would be, so we have the Veterans Day Assembly today at Del Rio. It was packed in there, so it was super cool. The kids did a fun job singing. I know you were sad you had to miss, so. Then we had that today, and we also have theater productions coming up later on this week. We have the Thanksgiving feast at our schools starting next week. So if you have an interest in helping serve, Cheyenne can fill you in on where you need to be when in order to help out with that. Every school starts at a different time. Brandy's school starts serving lunch at like 10 o'clock in the morning because of preschool.
10:15.
10:15, sorry, that's close.
Do preschoolers get to have lunch too?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's $5 for adults, and we'll have our electronic pay system. So we're prepared this year to take debit card, which is easier. This is Amy from Sodexo. It's her first Thanksgiving extravaganza with the school district. And then we're having coffee with the superintendent at Territorial a week from tomorrow as well. We're just a little off cycle for some of that, but I wanted to make sure we got all those dates in. So some other things that I wanted to chat with you about. On your way in, you may have seen a bunch of boxes piled up near where Cheyenne used to sit. That is the first hard copy newsletter that's going out, and it will go out by the end of the week. So that goes to all box holders. That was one of our goals for communication this year, was to increase our reach beyond electronic mediums and get back in the hands of folks who like to have stuff in their mailboxes. So that's ready to go. Our next one will be in January. This one features public safety and career and technical ed preparation for public safety careers here, and featured on the front cover. Some cute little kid that Brandy knows. He's an adult now. It's her son. He's on the cover. So he's at CAFMA. So we have that. And then starting with the January one, there will be QR codes to scan in the newsletter to watch the full videos that go with the stories, and a QR code for tax credit donations. So that'll be on that one. We also have, Cheyenne got us all set up with our new website. She's been working on it for like 8 months. It's been massive undertaking, and we've had really, really positive reviews from parents, from students, from staff. It's user friendly. It's way easier to access staff, be able to email them directly. And we have a parent communication system app that was activated over the weekend. I got my notification over the weekend, so we'll start training staff in that. Because one of the things that we know is always can be problematic is, how do coaches, how do teachers, like how best should people communicate through an electronic medium with parents? And so we have a district authorized platform for that, for direct communication. So we'll be working on getting people trained in that. Also, our other communication goals were things about Coffee with the Superintendent, our Spanish-speaking parent nights, and our regular article submissions to the Courier, and all those things are on track. We also had a communication opportunity that I wasn't really expecting. 60 Minutes interviewed me for over an hour one day last month about school funding in Arizona, because we're a named plaintiff on the lawsuit that we won against the state of Arizona for capital funding. They're exploring whether to do a larger segment on all kinds of school funding and why it's problematic in Arizona. So I had an opportunity to spend some time on the phone with them, and as they're interviewing other people from around the state, they'll decide sometime in the next probably month and a half about whether they're going to go forward with an hour-long segment on Arizona school funding. So that was good. So that was kind of neat. Also, we've had opportunities to be involved in lots of planning and zoning opportunities with the town of Chino Valley. The school district's invited to weigh in on projects that are going on, how they might impact the schools, things like that. So it could be everything from like something across the road from Brandy's school that would affect traffic patterns because the bus barn is there, to Marty sitting in on one this week for me because I'm unable to attend it, about a potential new Circle K at 4 South with big fueling stations. So they're all different kinds of things. They could be everything from, you know, apartments to random things like storage unit businesses or whatever, but that's something that we also participate in. Also, I wanted to bring you up to speed. We had a compliance visit that was a planned monitoring event from the Office of Civil Rights. That was at CVHS on October 19th and 20th. And one of the reasons that CVHS was selected for that is because they receive federal Carl Perkins money to support career and technical education. So the visit includes, we started prepping for it in August. So, and there were a variety of people throughout the district who were involved in the prep facilities because of Americans with Disabilities Act, special education because of IDEA, our Spanish speaking, our EL coordinator, Rosemary Karate, high school admin, Brian, his CTE department, Heidi because of hiring practices, myself because of anti-discrimination policies and things like that. So we've submitted tons and tons of paperwork ahead of time for review. We participated in activities while they were here. Cheyenne had a large part of it because our website presence is also a big part of anti-discrimination laws. And how Heidi's the Title IX compliance officer, so she had parts to do, staff handbooks, student handbooks, communications for parents, all that kind of stuff was reviewed. And we had one minor finding in the high school's handbook. It didn't include an email address for Heidi as the compliance officer, so that was pretty minor, easy to fix. And we also had, I think, 5 minor facilities findings. Like one was we needed to wrap a pipe in case the water underneath the sink was too hot. There was one they allowed us to fix while they were here. One of our handicapped signs in the parking lot for a parking space was 59 inches from the ground to the sign. It has to be 60. So they allowed us to fix that while they were here, so we moved the sign up an inch. And there was one when they said about like certain kinds of signage on the outside of a bathroom door. I'm like, Chris, run to Lowe's and get some signs. So, you know, like they put the signs up while they were there. But we don't know all of the things they're going to look for, and not all those things are spelled out to the iota in all those different federal laws. So actually we did really well. It'll take facilities probably about 2 hours to finish up the things, but like everything from identified handicap seating in the gymnasium, the football stadium, things like that. So anyway, the visit went really well. I would tell you our staff worked so hard to prepare that I think that contributed to it going as smoothly as it did. So, and then we've had the first reading of the trust policies, chapter 1 and 2. Marty's working on a superintendent certification. So one of his projects has been to help with the the transition to trust policies. So you have the first reading for 1 and 2 in your packet tonight. We also have had our second meeting with the construction company core with Architechnologies, who's the architect, and with the State School Facilities Board. I want to remind everyone that 10 classrooms at the high school it was determined last December 13th that they were at the end of their useful life. So what they did was they're slated for demolition, but they're actually going to replace those 10 classrooms with a new building. And that new building, we're not exactly sure. We're pretty sure it's going to be right out here in the dirt, but they're doing all the geotech tests and things on it now. So we had our second meeting, which included going over what kinds of things that we would need to have in the building, like how we use it. So for example, 2 of the classrooms that are end of useful life house our most severely and profoundly disabled students. So in our new building, we have to be able to meet those students' needs, and those needs have changed dramatically over the years. So our construction company sent us video of a special needs whole school that they had built in Vegas to try to give us some ideas and to see things that modern special needs classrooms have. So, and then they're also going to provide for us a couple of places that we could go visit, so we can see it in person, because none of us have ever had the opportunity to start from scratch for something and make it what the kids need it to be. So we're in that process. It's still our goal. They feel it's very doable that we would turn the knob on the classroom doors in August of 27. So they feel like the timeline's ambitious, but that it's doable. So that's the goal. So we're coming along with that. And then, as you know, because of declining enrollment and low contributed, 2 main things, low birth rates and students taking the ESA. Of course, we've had declining enrollment like all our neighboring districts have had. And we know that means that we have to trim the budget going into next year. And so I met with all district leadership this morning, and we have a couple of dates and times where we'd like to have a work session with the board to just go over, here's where we are, here's what we're thinking, to provide information. And the team is really hoping that maybe you'll pick 3:30 before our December board meeting. But our second option would be the following Monday at 3:30 as well. So before everybody goes today, or even right now, you could just tell me which one might work better for you, and then we can set it up.
I would prefer the 8th.
You would prefer the 8th?
I prefer the 15th.
I have our federal monitoring that day on the 15th.
Okay.
So
Yes.
Actually, I
That's not
probably
what-
could, I could probably do that.
8th.
it doesn't matter.
Ms. Singer, how does the 8th look for you?
December.
December 8th. December 8th should work for me.
Okay, December 8th at 3:30, we'll do that. And then in your packet, you have all of the goals and the updates from all the different departments and schools. So if you have any questions about things that are in the packet, we've got lots of folk here who could answer questions for you.
I just have one going back to the newsletters. Are we doing all of that in-house? Are we sending that out? How are we?
Well, we don't print it
Okay,
because,
I didn't think so.
yeah, we can't do that.
Thought I'd ask.
And the post office has to deliver. But yes, so Matt Santos and our staff at the schools, yes, it's all being done in-house.
Fantastic.
So, yep. And we have 2 reports this evening. We have transportation and facilities. I'm going to let Selena go first because I am actually facilities tonight. Chris's wife slipped in their house on, it involved a dog and water balloons and, all kinds of stuff. Slipped in their house on Friday, broke her wrist in 4 places.
Oh, no.
She's our family resource specialist, and this is a very busy time of the year. So they had to run to Phoenix to orthopedic this afternoon. So
Good evening. I'm Selena, the Director of Transportation here. I'm just kind of going over goals and strategies with you guys. We are trying to build the transportation department as far as being more cohesive, being one with the schools as well. We're also running into problems with understaffed, trying to run routes, combine routes. So we have been lucky enough to successfully pass 2 drivers for our third-party testing, which means that they're able to drive school buses for us. We currently, at the beginning of the year, had 3 open routes that were being filled between a field trip driver, our driver dispatch, my admin assistant, and myself. So we kind of were rotating through it depending on what needs were met. So we're hoping to get at least 1 more aide who I used to work with over at Humboldt Unified School District, who used to drive over there. She came on for us as an aide. So we've been talking to her and kind of just poking and prodding her and saying, hey, we could really use a special needs driver. This one is for the RISE program, which goes 5 days a week. So we're hoping within the next 2 to maybe 3 weeks, we're able to get the 3rd driver on board certed, and that will actually fill all 3 routes. And then I'll be able to open up our field trip driver, so he is able to focus more on field trips as well. We were able to also complete all of our necessary paperwork for our audit for the 24-25 school year for miles and student counts. So that one took a long time. My admin assistant, Amanda, is here, who did an amazing job and working with Mr. Livingston and getting in all the necessary reports, getting the different days. We had to look for pre-trips for certain days. So, I mean, we're going through piles of paperwork from a year ago, trying to figure all that stuff out as well. A couple other things that we're looking at right now, we're monitoring, is the overcrowding of routes. We have a couple of routes that are just a little bit too much, but we're also looking into combining several routes to give us an extra sub driver, so that way office staff can stay in the office and do what we need to. We have, the conduct department that we do here between Amanda and myself. We have to help out with field trips, doing different things, and making sure that we get our day-to-day operations taken care of as well. So we're looking at possibly combining, and I know it's going to affect you guys, some of the Paulden routes. We're looking at possibly trying to do a couple of different things. We realized that some of the high school routes only have 15 students on them. Okay, so how can we make this more efficient? Or we have A.R.S. and HMS that has, 20 kids. Okay, if this one has another 15, can we put them all in one bus and make sure that we're still on time for the high school route? So we're looking into a couple of different things and working on that as well. We're hoping to have at least a combined route finished by Christmas. And so then we can start prepping and letting parents know that, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's going to work for us. And we're trying to make sure that it's going to be cost effective and make sure that the kids are not overcrowded on the buses as well. We are also looking into doing some CPI training for our drivers. So we talked to one of our companies out here, and we're looking at more of a verbal de-escalation and basic bus driver training. We've kind of hit that peak of students' behavior starting up again. It's the end of the semester. I know last Thursday we had several phone calls about complaints with students and things that are going on. So we feel looking into some sort of de-escalation with the drivers to get them to understand and talk to the students. Talk to, not at them. And we know that makes a huge difference in letting them, know that they have the respect. If you guys want to be an adult, we're trying to train you guys. We're on the bus with you guys, talk to us and do what we can. So we're hoping that we can get some sort of training done with the drivers to help kind of understand and deal with behaviors a little bit better and more one-on-one, and make things a little bit more personable for them. Other than that, it's been going. We get up and drive every day.
The wheels still go round and round.
We don't have a choice, yes.
Any questions?
I just want to make a comment. Thank you so much for what you do for the safety of our kids. You guys are doing amazing. Thank you. And I don't know how you do it. So many.
We do a lot. Our drivers are amazing here. We do a lot, make sure that we recognize and do what we can, and we got to keep the drivers that we have. So we appreciate them
for taking care of the behaviors, because I know what that's like. So, and I know that's a challenge dealing with the children and the parents.
It is. Some of our
Especially on the
parents.
bus.
Yes.
So,
We've had several parents come in last week and the week before with, complaints or can I view a tape, which, if we have parents that come in, it's like we encourage them. My child said this, okay, we understand, let's schedule on a time. You guys come in, we'll view the tape and then we can go from there. And a lot of the times the parents are very receptive of that and they will make, comments or, let me go grab my child and we'll come in together. So we've had that happen several times, but I mean, it's nice to know that we have the support from the community as well and understanding. And yes, we've had to suspend and for the most part, like I said, parents, they're good about it. They get it and they understand it. As soon as videos are watched, it's okay. Yeah, my kid did that and they got to face the consequences. So
Keep up the good work. Thank you for the update.
thank you.
When we do facilities, would it be okay for that student council folks?
Please.
She doesn't have to stay.
Come on
Come on up. Say your name loud so Cheyenne can get you.
I'm Leah Boudreaux. Good evening, board members. It's a pleasure to stand before you today. Like I said, I'm Leah Boudreaux, the student body president for our student council at Chino Valley High School. I would like to take a moment to share some updates since my last time I was here because it was a little bit ago. So at the beginning of October, we kicked off our homecoming festivities, which were filled with exciting events, including a spirit week. Later in the month, we hosted our first annual Fallapalooza, which was a fun community-based event. So for those who were unable to attend, a variety of booths were set up in the cafeteria. So we had our yearbook club create a photo area, our National Honor Society or Art Honor Society offered face painting. Our culinary department organized a cakewalk, and our HOSA club hosted a fingerprint art on balloons activity. In the gym, the student council created a spooky walk that was definitely a crowd favorite. And during that same week, we had our Red Ribbon Week, which was a week of dress-up days, encouraging students to be drug-free. Overall, it was a fun-filled and successful month. Earlier today, we had our Winter Sports Assembly, which went very well. We also captured a special drone photo of our senior class of 2026, the 26 drone photo with all the yellow shirts. Looking ahead, our next big event will be our mascot tryouts. So thanks to the support of the site council, we were able to get a brand new cougar mascot costume, which is something definitely our school has been looking forward to because the old one was a little stinky. So, and so tryouts are going to take place next week for that. Does anybody have any questions?
Great. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I think I saw on social that you guys are having the senior trip meeting soon, the first meeting.
That already happened. So
Okay.
right now, I think I just checked, we have 60 seniors signed up to go on that. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, Mr. Deco, I'll be the facilities report tonight. Chris sent me lots of notes. He said he was disappointed that he couldn't be here because he was looking forward to presenting. Okay, slide 2. So they've been working on removing dead trees, which we have everywhere. And he wanted you guys to know that it's, it helps protect roofs, fencing, all kinds of stuff. And safety hazard, lowers our fire hazard, creates a healthier landscape. So other stuff can thrive when we had all these volunteer trees. So Pelican light controllers. So these allow remote automated control of lighting, which gives access to scheduling, automated adjustments, and they provide data so they can optimize savings and how we're using electricity for lighting. And I think it's somewhere later in here, but right now, all school districts in Arizona have been asked to weigh in on this because APS wants to raise the rates 14%. And that would be devastating to a school district that has HVAC now. We have aging buildings. The district office is 77 years old. The high school, depending which building you're in, is from 65 to 17. And so soon, you'll only be a year old. Del Rio is 45, Heritage is 32, and Tech is 26. So, and Transpo is only 10, the little building back behind, but I can't believe it's already been 10 years. It seems like yesterday. So as you might imagine, some of the issues we've been having with the age of our buildings, we've had some foundation issues and, structural integrity because of that. We've had a lot of little plumbing issues because we have, like really old deteriorating pipes. In fact, as they are working to construct the new building, we're going to have to probably run water through out here, but in the process, we're gonna go ahead and kill the water to the red brick buildings, because otherwise we would have to dig everything up and redo all the plumbing, and there are like little bathrooms in there that we don't really need or use anymore. They were from when it was like little elementary classrooms. So we're gonna try to link some projects together, and so instead of having to do really, really expensive replacement, we can just in the process. So that's the goal there. We also have clogs, that's always joyful, and leaks and things like that in the plumbing. And just east of the John's office, actually, we had a nice bubble up in the spring. So those are things that, like I pulled in the parking lot and you're like, yeah, I can tell already what's going on. I don't even need to get out of the car. I can smell that one. So those are some of the issues we've been having. So room 603 at HMS, one of the benefits of having classrooms that are vacant is we haven't ever had anywhere at Heritage we can put the wrestling mats down and leave them down.
Nice.
And it is expensive when you keep picking wrestling mats up. Like the tape is expensive to hook the mats together. They get damaged because you're moving them around all the time. And so they went ahead and stripped old nasty carpet out of there, polished and stained the concrete. They'll be able to put the wrestling mats down and leave them down. So they'll be able to clean them. And so they've been doing this because our carpet replacement schedule with School Facilities Board is like 5 classrooms a year, which is like nowhere near what it needs to be. So instead, they've been doing this, and our guys are doing it, and I think it's coming out really nice. One of the concerns we had, we did an experiment in a science classroom at the high school a few years ago, and we were concerned about the noise. Like, would it be noisier? But it's really not, because kids are in there, their backpacks, their coats, they're all those things. And so it absorbs the sound, and they haven't really noticed a difference. So, but they're doing that, making it look snazzy. And then daily maintenance.
I'm gonna give it a second.
Okay. These are some of the things that they're doing on the daily. Things like preventing wear and tear on the buildings, and it shows, that you can see from the projects they're working on here that safety is a big part of it, but you also could see like the new football scoreboard. Our guys put that in as savings instead of having it installed. And then we have a new soccer scoreboard that's actually on its way here that they'll be working to install. So, athletics, facilities, everybody's working together to try to do projects and accomplish projects that we can do cost effectively. So those are some of that. Also at Brandy School, you might notice if you have driven by there that we no longer have a tumbleweed farm. We actually have some nice rock down over there and some plants. And because this was here was all trashed in the roofing replacement, instead of just like buying more rock and throwing it down, they're going to go ahead and tidy this up at the same time. So it'll look a lot like Tech looks, kind of that xeriscape look with some rocks, some really drought resistant trees. And I think it really zhuzhed up the corner there at Mahan and 1 East. It looks a lot nicer. And because our guys are doing it, we're doing it for a fraction of what it would cost, of course, if we had a landscape company do it. So some before and afters on our sports fields. So the drone footage really tells the story, right? And on the big picture that's on the right there, you can see in the top corner, but you can see the baseball field, you can see the soccer field, then that long field with no striping or anything is the new soccer field, and we've been slowly working on that. Softball, And then you can see how much nicer the football field looks than how it used to look. So we have someone who is really like an expert in turf and turf management, and it really shows. Okay? The other thing is you can see the difference between the old gnarly track and the good track. So, but this, it does a lot of things. It gives the kids a sense of pride, gives the coaching staff a sense of pride. Fields are safer because they're in better condition than they were, and it's far more sustainable this way. So next up, so we work with A.R.S. on rebates, and Chris works really hard trying to do every kind of rebate application that we can do to save the district money. So you can see that what our rebates will look like and what the future rebates will look like. Part of that comes from the type of HVAC systems we've had installed, comes from the systems that we use, the thermostat systems that we use, things like that. So it's something that Chris has put a lot of effort into because it was the cost of the HVAC systems was the great unknown. And we haven't gone through one whole school year yet with all the HVAC running. In fact, the last building at Del Rio was just approved, the office building. That had a 3-ton big chiller on it before. We're going to individual units there, and that was approved by School Facilities Board, thanks to some work John did over the weekend to try to get the rest of that through. And they'll start in on one wing of Ed's building in January. They'll finish the other wing during second semester, and then when students are gone, they'll do the center part, where the office and all that stuff is. So that's our last HVAC project, the end of useful life classrooms at the high school. Of course, there was no HVAC put on those rooms, so they still have swamp, and we'll have to deal with one more school year with swamp until the new building's ready. So it's still gonna be a couple of years out before everything hits the A.R.S. bill. So next up, at CVUSD, facilities is working on a bathroom remodel. We've had a lot of toilet clogging issues there. So they're adding new piping to contribute to fewer repairs being needed. They're replacing some tiles that have been damaged and generally zhuzhing it up and making it nicer, safer, and all the piping will be modern. So because of the clogging issues. And then the next last thing up from facilities. So the West Gym. So we have the bathroom remodel at 64 that you saw in progress, by room 64. In this gymnasium here, they have a little bit left to do in the bathrooms this fall. Otherwise, we'll take a tour one night before a board meeting when the bathrooms are done. Like, it already smells so much better in there. I can't even begin to tell you. The lighting is better, the sound is better, the climate control is 1,000 times better, but we'll be able to hold other events in there, use the stage, have some community use for that room. The bathrooms there will be usable, which they haven't been as long as I've been in the district. So we have that going on. We're gonna zhuzh up the front of Del Rio there. And the weatherization project, as you remember, is a fancy word for paint, for School Facilities Board. Project has been approved. And so we're just, now we're moving at the speed of the state, whatever, but, because we have to do the painting when it's like certain temperatures and all that stuff. But I'm anticipating by the end of the school year, Del Rio won't look the way it currently looks.
Looks like it's in the hood.
Like it's in the hood, yeah. Like it's in the hood.
I don't know how many times I've had to ask Dr. Peter, are we gonna get?
I know, he asked me, I texted him one day, I'm like, it was approved by School Facilities Board. He's like, great, when are they starting? And I'm like, hold your horses. I don't know.
So does this consider paint on the outside?
Weatherization is,
Okay.
like we would call it painting, but it also involves like sealing. And John would tell you there's an elastomeric, he calls it Gorilla Snot. There's an elastomeric mixed with it to provide like a water penetration seal as
It hit
well.
me when I went to the corn dinner. Just how
It's
bad.
beautiful, isn't it?
Just how bad
Super
Del Rio
classy.
needs painted.
Yes.
So.
We have requests in for all the weatherization for all the buildings for weatherization. So don't know when, school facilities board, as you know, it's one of the reasons we save the state. The state dramatically underfunds the needs that the schools in Arizona have and that the voters said to fund. So any questions about facilities that I can answer for you?
No, it looks like they're doing a lot of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
We'll be anxiously awaiting the weatherization
We need to have like a weatherization ribbon cutting
Oh,
or
yeah.
something.
I'll bring a paintbrush if needed.
I'm telling
I
you.
saw where they're putting new roofs on the red brick buildings.
Yes,
And so those classrooms that used to be the elementary school, they will be used for the high school then?
they've been being used.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, they'll be much better for the kids and.
So yes, we're working on it. So the roofing was approved. They take the metal roof off, then there was structural issues and stuff, all those kinds of things that you might imagine. But we do use the red bricks for classrooms, right?
My son was over here in school.
But by next year, there won't be any bathrooms in there anymore. So,
I just thought I would ask because I just see things coming little by little, but it's uplifting to see the things that are coming, so.
Anything else for facilities?
I can have Chris email you if there's something you
Just tell him
want
good
to
job.
know. Okay, I'll tell him good job.
All right, before we move on to financials, if the board will indulge me for just a moment, I'd like to give a shout out and congratulations. I'm gonna put my town hat on for a minute. On the 25th of October, the town had their annual trick or treating in Memory Park. We had different booths and what have you. And every year we give a golden pumpkin award to the best decorated booth. And this year hosted one. So our health occupation students dressed up as mad scientists and had crazy hair, and they had wrapping mummies, and they were able to do blood prints, handprints, fingerprints for the kids. And it was just amazing. And I just have to tell you that not only was their booth wonderful, but the excitement for winning. There was one of the students that, as I'm walking over to give the golden pumpkin, they're like, did we win? I mean, he's jumping up and down, and then I'm getting ready. I took the mayor with me to hand out the golden pumpkin. And as we're walking away, I can hear him on his phone. Mom, we won the golden pumpkin. So it was just, I thought it was really great that the school was involved. So anyways, all right, with that, Mr. Livingston, financial reports, please.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, staff, and ladies and gentlemen. Quick look at the month of October 2025. The way we do these financial reports, we simply look at all the expenditures, revenue activity as well, and ending fund cash. And we've got, I believe it's 84 different funds that receive funds, revenues, and expend those funds. And some of those funds I'm going to highlight here in just a minute, but a real quick look at the position. Our budget, as we know, for our operating fund is not finalized yet. It won't be until the 100th day is in. Right now, we're sitting at about 19.2 million with our current information. Expenditures as of the end of October, 6.6 million. Take away encumbrances and what might need to be expended there, we were at a negative 3.58%. We've run into this before, and we do have reserves to, I believe, get us through this year with a perhaps reduced carry forward in that fund, but I've never quit since I saw what was happening with enrollment 3 years ago. I've been able to redo 2 annual financial reports to bring some capacity forward for that fund in particular. So with any I guess you could say good luck, but there's a lot of things involved. We will have a carry forward going into next year because of these financial reports. What happens is, if you look at the cash funds, Fund 527 is a great example. Fund 527 is our after-school CASA program. Sometimes it spends $48,000 a year on salaries and supplies. Sometimes it spends $52,000, but it doesn't have enough cash to pay its own bills. So when those salaries come in, and there's usually 2 to 3 people in there and a director, those salaries are paid in our operating fund. So at the end of the year, I'm estimating $675,625 will come out of the operating fund and flow back into those funds that have the cash. So these are called cash short funds, and they can't stand on their own 2 feet. as the year goes by. Capital is doing better, 880,000 in the budget, spent 194,000, encumbered 372. So that 315,000 left in capital, which is 35.7% unspent. We do have big plans for with some textbook purchases. We'll have to keep you informed with the textbook purchases, but it'd be nice to carry all that forward into next year unspent, but not likely because we're behind on textbooks. 620, that's on our cover sheet too. Spent 584,000 out of that fund, that adjacent waste fund. And we also put in a generous levy to replenish those funds this year. So we'll end the year with cash. Cash in there right now is maybe 35, 40,000. I'll have to get interest in there. But that's coming in throughout the year with local taxes. That goes into Fund 620. And that's the main report. I just had to focus for a second on those cash short funds. We've got about 8 of those cash short funds. And that's where I get the 675,000. A big portion of it is usually around $400,000 is Fund 855. People that leave the district, but yet want to keep district health insurance, or people that are current employees, but want to buy up from our health insurance plan to include a spouse or children. Those costs are paid in that 855. It can't support itself, so we make the expense in M&O. Then as the cash flows into that fund, when those payments clear the bank, then we're able to move that cost out of M&O back to those funds. And that's a real quick look here at the situation for the district as of the end of October.
Seeing none, if we could go on to our student activity report, please.
Student activity, I think if you want to look at it from a competitive position, the group or the student activity organization with the most expenses so far is high school cross country, spent over $7,400 year to date. And the one with the most revenue, no big surprise, over $7,110 is the student council at the high school. And they do, I think, 7 events throughout the year, some fundraising, some expending money. They by far help the rest of the district, the rest of the generation. And those funds are secure, and the students need to vote on what they do with those funds, and those minutes of those meetings are kept really carefully. So I think those funds are extremely secure.
Any other questions for Mr. Livingston? All right, then let's go on to item number 7, which is consent agenda.
Oh, we have the, Don, I didn't know you need to cover the disposition
I
report.
apologize,
We're
I
in
did
the
miss
auction.
that. Yes,
That's right.
disposition of
Yeah,
auction
report.
items.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, I don't understand.
No,
Yeah, nobody does.
Thank you with the right moment.
So there's a list of items, and we always try to read, there's a list of regulations we always try to follow completely. And one of the best practices whenever we have an auction is to let the board approve these items. So if you know there's a desk, one of our principals, as soon as I say this, if I'm gonna know who it is, but has a tag on their desk, I think it's from 1952. It's got 3 red numbers on it, and it might still be worth $400. Maybe it's worth more than it costs. But if we ever want to dispose of that, and you happen to have seen that tag on that desk, you may say, please don't dispose of it. Please replace it with like for like. I think it's oak or mahogany. It's a pretty heavy duty desk. So when we do that, we want to bring those items in front of you so you have an idea. And I guess the worst case scenario would be if we bought a brand new vehicle last year. We got a bus last year from some funds that we put together, $217,000. Well, if you'd been over there, you knew which that tag number was and exactly what that VIN number was on that bus, and you saw that we were going to auction it the very next year. If you happen to be that involved in district business, you might question it. And then we would say, well, guess what happened to the motor? Or guess what happened to this and that? We better have a reason. So, but if you have no idea what we're auctioning, it gets kind of difficult, but they want the board to be involved in purchasing. When we purchase things, we give you those accounts payable vouchers and payroll vouchers every month, every voucher, and also when we dispose of it. And the 3 ways that typically we follow when we dispose of something, if it's broken beyond repair, we can bundle up what's left and take it to the landfill. We don't have much of that. Sometimes we do, but we also have a state auction site And we go to these state auction sites, and that's where we list these items and put the original cost. If there is a serial number, we do that. And then in addition to a state auction site, we can simply pay the cost of running it down the state surplus, put it on a flatbed and do that. And then if it sells for our asking price, that's fine. But we don't do that very often because the cost of filling up flatbeds with old material, like we had a Connex box just 3 weeks ago, a person paid $5,000 for some old used monitors and PCs. Anything else in there, Larry, that was?
We had all sorts of stuff. Printers.
Would you have paid 5 cents for it?
Me?
Yeah, but we had a person give the district $5,000 for that. And they might go after gold, they might go after copper wire, we don't care, but it's then on them to get it out of here in a timely manner. So it was a local auction that's online, and they won the whole Connex, not the unit, but the contents. So
How often do you do the
I
auctions?
think we've got 3 a year the last few years. 3 to 4 a year, so we're running them almost continuously.
And then I see in here when there's not any bids or anything else, we just,
Then we're clear. If we either put it on a semi and put it in state surplus or put it through an auction and there's no interest, then we can dispose of it ourselves. But if not, then there's a risk that we're doing something else.
We actually make money off of auctions. That's awesome.
Yeah, it goes into it's called School Plant Fund, it's Fund 500. We also bring in money from our cell phone tower down here, we use our cell phone tower. So that's what we sometimes use for when we bring back to school meetings and we have our like $3,000 worth of t-shirts. Buy a lot from there. You can imagine bigger districts with a lot of capital to sell. That 500 fund is in the millions because it disposes of old assets. But we usually hang on to it, use it up, wear it out, make do or do without. That's kind of what we do. So there's not much residual value or disposal value in our stuff.
this was an information-only, non-action item. So we will move on to our consent agenda, which is an action item. I'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda items A through E.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda, items A through E.
And I will second. Thank you, Marcia. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, a personnel report. Our first one is, personnel report. June.
So, Madam Chair, board members, and Ms. Daniels, I have a supplement with the personnel report. So I make sure that I address that. That was in addition. So we have 2 new classified employees, 2 new classified substitutes, 2 terminations, 1 resignation, 1 certified change, 2 classified changes, 7 coaches, 2 extra duty, and 2 timesheets.
Only 2?
2 time sheets.
Rhonda was on vacation.
So everybody else doesn't get paid, right?
So next month.
Yes, we'll have a 10 timesheet.
I actually have a question.
Sure.
15 and 13, same person.
Yeah.
Can you tell me?
I'll let HMS explain the new girls' basketball and boys' basketball coach.
It's the same person?
Without
Yeah.
a name.
Yeah.
You could talk with.
Yeah, but not without a name.
So they're just different times. They're different, like girls' basketball is right now, and then boys' basketball will be
So
after.
same, I've just never seen that one.
Just
Right?
lack of
Yeah.
people
I just was-
applied.
Okay, so different times, the coach is gonna coach girls and boys.
Yeah, it's, right now it's
Okay.
different. Trying to hire out a little bit.
Comments? This also is an action item. Yeah, someone would.
I will make a motion to approve the personnel report
And supplement?
and supplement.
I'll second. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, item number 9 is curriculum. I gotta get this, hold on. No, it's Marcia.
Thank you.
The second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Item number 10A is the 26-27 district calendar. This one,
That is going to be Mr. Capitelli.
Mr. Campitelli. It was submitted by Ms. Wolf.
It was.
I'm getting
Thank you.
used to this computer thing, guys.
Good evening, Madam President, board members, superintendent. As chairperson of the Superintendent Employee Advisory Council, or SEAC, I'm here to present the final draft of the proposed 2026-2027 district employee calendar for your approval. The calendar was developed collaboratively, beginning with a review of the current 25-26 calendar. Each school site brought the draft to their teams for discussion. And after feedback and minor revisions, SEAC has reached consensus on the version before you tonight. Some of the key highlights, the start date will be Wednesday, August 5th, not July.
Back in August.
End date will be Tuesday, May 25th, 2027. In-service days are aligned closely with the current calendar. Some new additions, we have 2 potential makeup snow days, Monday, April 26th, and Wednesday, May 26th. Monday, March 29th is designated as a no school day. 12-month hourly employees will work 209 days, 1 day more than the typical calendar. So administrators will receive a floating day off. The calendar reflects the input of educators and staff across the district, has been formally reviewed and endorsed by SEAC, so I respectfully request the board's approval so we may move forward with planning and communication. Thank you for your time. Any
Just
any
let us know,
questions?
school starts in August.
Yes.
Thank you for
That was a big one.
I do have a question. I am all in favor of people having as much time off as they possibly can. What's the significance of March 29th?
March 29th was a makeup school day.
It's a makeup, okay.
It's not.
Makeup snow day, sorry.
The reason, so it's wacky for our school year employees, not the 12-month, because sometimes how like leap year causes fallouts in later years, and it left us with an extra day in the calendar, like we would have been ending school on a Monday. And that day, typically, it's like a little too early to have it be our makeup snow day, because we could still have snow day in April. But it's the day after Easter.
Got it. Okay. I was just
Good
curious.
question.
No, this one was a little complex, and college added fall break this year for this coming school year. Yavapai College, they never had a fall break, so everybody's calendar needed.
All right, this also is an action item. If we could get a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the 2026-2027 district calendar.
In a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Can I get a copy of this?
We probably do minutes.
It'll hit the website pretty soon, too.
All right, item 11A is just the first reading of our trust policies, chapters 1 and 2.
So I had sent them out to you a couple weeks ago because as we're working on that conversion and overlap of the trust policies with our current Arizona School Boards Association policies, Marty and I worked closely with our liaison from the trust on those. We localized them where we needed to, like including position titles or things that would align to what we had the board had decided in the past. The plan is that we'll do 1 and 2 this month for first reading. And that gives you lots of time still to keep going through them. We will do 3 at the December meeting, which is all finance. We will do 4, which is personnel, at the January meeting. We will do students, which is chapter 5 at the February meeting. And then we'll do 1 giant fell swoop of second reading at the March meeting. So that's the plan. So everybody has lots of time to weigh in on, what you see, what's there. I think one of the things that is obvious to everyone is the language is simpler, easier to understand, definitely more user-friendly, and doesn't have gazillions and bazillions of forms and exhibits and all those kinds of things. at the very end, when we roll to that March, what Marty and I will be working on in March with the trust is a repository of forms that don't have to be in the policy manual, but that will be available district forms, like a grievance form, a public complaint form, things like that. So as we move along, that's the plan. And so first readings are basically for your information and to give you lots of time. Remember, the packets that you receive through Agenda Click, you can download and save those, so you'll have them electronically at your disposal. And Marty and I are both available to answer all kinds of questions through email. And, if somebody asks a question, then I'll try to answer. So everybody would have access to the same information. So that's the plan, and we are cooking along. You guys, I think it was February when you voted to begin the migration process this year, and we are on the schedule that the board had established for that last spring.
This is just first reading. Does anyone have any blatant questions that we want to go over this evening?
I just ask a crazy question. Do you mind sending me that packet?
This one?
The packet that we got back in. the
Oh,
spring.
with just the chapters 1 and 2?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure, I can do that.
Sorry about that. I just
No
wanna
problem.
Make sure I have it. I've been going through my email.
Absolutely.
All right, again, first reading, no action taken. Item 11B is another first reading.
So I want to explain that if it's all right
Please,
with you.
policies
Okay.
809 through, well, a whole bunch.
So what we discovered was, as Cheyenne has assumed the role that she's in, we had discovered, I had not been receiving policy advisories, and we had discovered that we had fallen behind on keeping up on policy changes with Arizona School Boards Association. We did the policy changes, and those are second read tonight, 917 to 958, that were the result of statutory changes from the last legislative session. But all these millions of first reads that are like 300 pages long are pretty much ASBA striking a lot of stuff to try to streamline their policy manual. There was nothing that changed any policy that we had in place. There was nothing that removed a policy that wasn't redundant. So they're trying to get rid of redundancies. But when Cheyenne reached out to ASBA to say, hey, I'm new, they're like, hey, you guys have a lot of stuff you're behind on. She was like, oh my gosh, Cindy. I'm like, just get the copies and I'll start working. So I read through everything. It was gloriously boring. Read through all those hundreds of pages to try to see if there was anything that I thought would really stand out or be of particular interest to the board in that process. We also discovered that there was a regulation that was supposed to have been localized in March of 2020. Anybody remember what happened in March of 2020? Yes, you do. We didn't come back to school. And so there was the policy had been updated, but the regulation that kind of spelled out some things never had been. And so that was preventing, it was like a massive speed bump that was preventing us from going forward with some of the other stuff. So Cheyenne has been working really, really hard to identify and work with ASBA on all of that. So I don't believe I had John Livingston and some of his staff go through the policy advisories that may have had financial implications or that we may have localized in the past because we didn't want it to revert to something generic. So we've gone through all of those. So everything that's been presented to you for first read, because we still need to keep our ASBA policy manual up until we completely adopt our trust manual. Everything that's been presented to you in the packet for all those advisories is completely in line with things the board has approved in the past, so.
And we will have some crossover between ASBA and the trust.
We will, we'll have about 4 months of crossover, so. It'll be a little cumbersome till we get through that process in entirety.
This is also first reading, but is there anything glaring, please?
Can I just ask a question? So in the hypothetical situation, when we're in the process of the whatever it is, 4 months of crossover, and we have an issue, which one takes precedence?
Nothing is contradictory. So so what the process that Marty and I have been doing, so our trust policy analyst, Lillian, sends us all the stuff. She's already crosswalked every single thing in our policy manual with everything in the trust policy manual. She sends us a list prior of, these are all the things that are different. You know, do you want this thing or do you want that thing? And we're picking the thing that already goes with what the board has approved. So that's a process. So we meet with her virtually like every 3 weeks to a month, something like that, and go through all that really carefully with her to make sure that that there aren't contradictions.
And may I elaborate on that a little bit and see if I have it also. So let's say there are 2 policies, they're not contradictory, but one might be a little more
Robust.
stern, robust. That's the one we'd probably fall back on.
So the board
Depending on
the
the
board can
situation?
decide. So when we do the second read, we can decide, do you want the trust policy manual to go into effect immediately? Do you want it to go into effect July 1? Things
Got
like
it.
that. Yep.
Okay. Anything else? All right, again, just a first reading, so we will move on to the second reading of policy advisories number 917 to 958.
Which were primarily a result of the last legislative session.
Anyone have any questions on these? This is an action item, so we do have to approve the second reading of the policies.
I'll make a motion to approve policy changes as outlined in advisory 917 through 958.
And
I'll second it.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's it. Good night, everyone. See you next month. Or next week at your Thanksgiving lunches.
Yes, that's what it is.
Thank you.